5. Huh, 1385. There you go.
Which way are you going?
This way. Okay. So that's the idea for the front bump stops. Now that's just a 75 series front or rear, I can't remember. Bump stop eBay special, and we've just tapped a couple of M8 bolts in there. And what the plan is we're just going to weld this plate, not this big long thing, it's still got to get cut, but clean it up a little bit. Then this plate will get welded onto the chassis. Now it is a little thick, it's 8mm, but I needed that thickness for our threads. I know the bolts are only holding the bump stop in, but when it's articulating, there's going to be a bit of side force on them. So I wanted there to be a good amount of thread in there. We are need a touch shorter bolts, but these I just got out of the bolt bin. But on the driver's side, we have a little bit of an issue. It's, in a perfect world, the bump stop, I wouldn't even need a bump stop pad on this, with this style of bump stop, if it was over the center of the diff. But because we've, if you didn't watch the previous video, we pushed the diff forward another inch. We're a lot further forward now, so we're running into clearance issues with our panhard. So the mount is actually going to be sitting off center. So we're going to have to make a pad which tags on back to the housing, and then it's going to sit over our link mount here. The other side, once my temporary bump stop comes off, we got all this free room here. We could put any bump stop under there, and it'd be straight over the center of the diff, which would be perfect. But I was going to do one side one way and the other side the other, but it won't match and that'll annoy me. And our new mount came up pretty good. I didn't video building that. I spent a couple hours after work sort of whipping that up, and the whole reason of changing that mount is because we're high pinion in the front now. When I originally set this up, I wanted caster was going to have to change a fair bit throughout travel to compensate for our uni angle, because our front drive shaft's quite short. With the low pinion, it was going to have to pivot right up to keep our front shaft in somewhat of a working way with to work with the maximum travel here. But because we're in the high pinion now, we didn't need that much caster change throughout travel. I built that mount. I've actually got a little bit more in or link separation, and we've actually pushed that mount. That's why it's so offset. So spent ages working that out to work with what we have now, and it's turned out perfect. So now all we have to do is do our bump stops, and that's the front end all done. And also while we're here, you can see how our drag link lays right over our track rod, and that's because at a later date, that's why on the other side you can see here I've actually put a fish plate here, but on the other side I've left it because I want to slide the box right forward. But to do that, we need to change this front body mount. And I don't know why Suzuki did that, because only the shorties have this big bulky mount, and on the long wheel bases it's got like a nice little compact mount. So, but that'll be for a future job. We'll have to remake all these front mounts and move that box forward just so we have a better link angle when it's straight. So bump stops are in. I thought before I pull the diff out, I'll give you guys just a bit of a look at what I've done. A better look at our front new link mount at ride height. If this bar didn't have a bend in it, this link, it would be completely flat on ride height, which is perfect. We've got these bump stops bolted in, so if we do want to stop up travel, we can always put a spacer in here if need be, or get short. I know you can get shorter ones of these cruiser ones, or you can probably even just cut these off if you want more up travel. But I think what I'll end up doing is cutting these off, because when I pull my spare motor out of in storage, I'm going to see if I can cut a little bit of the sump just to get a little bit more room on the panhard, and then we should get heaps more up travel. So, but for now we can pull it all out and finish weld it all. That all welded in pretty nicely. I ended up putting some plates in these coilover mounts here in the bottom of our link mounts. I've put some gussets in there. I don't think you've just seen these ball gussets, so I welded them in a while ago. But I ended up cutting off the steering stops and making some thicker, stronger ones, because I know these bend up, like the original ones on this, which is actually right here. Well, it's going to be too hard to tell on camera, but that is actually got a big dent in there where it's been slamming for how many years. You can sort of see it there, how much it's pushed in. But so I ended up putting some beefier ones on there. All our bump stop pads are all nice and welded in. With the back of the upper link, I ended up putting that plate in the bottom. I just welded the inside of that. We did TIG weld the outside, but I thought I'd just put a couple beads on the inside just to be sure. But left enough room so the mud can escape in there. But she's about all ready for the powder coaters. I did have to sacrifice the front truss because this upper link, it peeled. I made it so it went right over the housing, as you can see. So the top truss ended up coming right over here. I could have notched the truss around the mount when I was putting it on, but I really wanted to get a nice weld in the front here because it'd be pretty catastrophic if this top link ripped off. But being in the car that it's in, I don't think we're ever gonna bend it. So the main real weak point is at these swivel balls here, which we've got a nice 8mm plate in there, and we're never gonna bend them. For anyone that's curious, this is an LN65 diff. I'm pretty sure, I could be wrong to you Hilux guys, but it's pretty sure it's the same as an LN106 except for the brake differences. Now I do have the vented discs and the bigger calipers for this, which is off the LN106, so I was going to put them on at the time. All that stuff is super cheap now for these, so I just grab them and we'll fit them on when we get the final assembly. But we've just got to do our final quick sand, or I've just got to go everything, making there's nothing sharp, and give it a final once over on anything that's been miswelded or anything. And I will wash everything even through the center with fuel, just because when he blasts it, because this will get bead blasted before he powder coats it, all the beading sticks to the inside. And last time I got it with the old diff, it was a real pain to get all that stuff out. Even when I did a first oil change on the housing, or on the diff, after using it for a little bit, a couple of little balls came out, or little sand particles, or whatever he uses. So I really don't want to do that again, especially because we got brand new gears. We're going to have a brand new locker in the front. I don't want to damage it at all. So, but that's going to do it for this video. In the next one, we've got to finish weld all the bottom of the car. That's going to be a bit of a chore. Now, I got fork extensions for the forklift there. We're just going to lift it up in the air, and Dad and myself are going to be just going at it with a couple welders. So thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.